We're about to get started, you all. Hello, 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 and welcome to the live. This is the first day of witnesses taking the stand in the Diddy trial. As you all likely know, we do not have TVs in the courtroom. So we cannot see this trial, but luckily there are different media outlets who are trying their best to give us blow by blow what's happening during the trial. So what I thought I'd do is read through what happened today. And at the point of me recording this, I think they're actually still, let's see, it's 5:11 Eastern Standard Time. I think they're still um, going through the witnesses now. I'm not sure. I don't know if court has ended yet. But I thought I'd read through what has taken place so far with the witnesses. So the first witness called to the stand was an LAPD officer, Israel Flores. All right. So if you see, we're going to start here up at the top, and I'm going to try my best to remember to have this pointer here so you guys can see where it is that I'm reading. Okay. All right. So let's jump in. Okay. So we call LAPD officer Israel Flores. He's sworn in. And then Flores says, I'm also, and again, this is a journalist who is like tweeting as things are going on. So there may be some typos in here. There may be some things I try to correct as I'm reading through it. But so just know that. So bear with like if there are like hiccups or something in what's written here. So the LAPD officer Flores says, I'm also a reservist for the Army. I was a guard with Securitas in 2016 in the Intercontinental Hotel near Century City. A USA attorney, what happened on March 5th, 2016? Flores, I was told of the sixth floor. So she was told that there was an issue, a situation going on the sixth floor. Flores, there I recognized Sean Combs. He is there wearing a gray sweater. The attorney, prosecutor, what was your title? Flores, assistant director of security. Let me show you a photo of the Intercontinental Hotel. Flores, it's shaped like a pyramid. So the judge admitted the photo. Then we come to the attorney asking, and I'll just say prosecutor or defense attorney just to make this easier. So prosecutor, what kind of incidents did you respond to? Flores, all kinds. We had a couple of suicides there. We prepare incident reports, the 5 W's. I'm not sure what that is. Okay. Prosecutor, would you attach photos to the reports? Flores, yes, but not video. We did not have the password. The prosecutor, when did the incident take place? Flores, 11 a.m. I got report of a woman in distress on the sixth floor. I closed the security base and checked the cameras. There was an African American man pacing back and forth. I didn't see a female. I rushed there. Prosecutor, what did you see on the sixth floor? Flores, Mr. Combs in a towel and some light, I'm assuming that's meant to be light colored socks. He's a rapper, producer, and Cassie on the floor. Prosecutor, let me show you photos. So the photos is Combs in a tuxedo, and in a separate photo, Cassie Ventura smiling. Prosecutor, what did you tell them? Flores, that is, they were arguing they'd have to take it back to these rooms and that the broken vase would be charged to the room. Cassie said she wanted her phone and her bag. Flores, Miss Cassie said she wanted to leave. Mr. Combs said, you're not leaving. I saw inside the room a male black man, a male black, wearing dark clothing. I'm trying to correct some of what the reporter wrote here, though I don't know. Maybe I should just read it as is. Okay, prosecutor. What did Mr. Combs do after Cassie left? Flores, he called for me. He was holding a stack of money, not to tell anyone. Scroll up just a little bit. Okay. Attorney prosecutor, what did you say? Flores, I said, I don't want your money. The damage is going to be charged to your room. And again, for those of you just joining, Flores is an LAPD cop who was working at the hotel as part of security. Okay. Prosecutor, where did Cassie go? Flores, after I spoke with her, she left. A car pulled up. She left in a black SUV. Prosecutor, was there a driver? Flores, 7 feet. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's 7 feet. Don't know. Okay, Flores, he said, she wants to leave. I said, I'm talking to her, not you. They left. Prosecutor, then what? Flores, we went up to Mr. Combs' room to remind him of hotel rules. He opens the door and grabs the phone and says, are you recording me? I pinned him to the wall. Flores, I took photos of the broken vase to tell them to come clean it up. I went to write the incident report. The prosecutor, is this it? Flores, my report with my name on it. The defense objected, judge noted. Prosecutor, then did you review the video? Flores, yes. Let's scroll up a little bit more. Trust me, y'all, this gets a lot more spicier once we get to the male dancer and the ex-worker. So prosecutor, I'm handing you a thumb drive with videos. Video shown. Prosecutor, did it have audio? Flores, no. Prosecutor, let's walk through. Who is this? Flores, Cassie. Prosecutor, and this? Flores, Mr. Combs. Prosecutor, what's happening here? Flores, she picked up the wall phone. Prosecutor, what did you find when you got there? Flores, the broken vase. Prosecutor, what is at the end of this video? Flores, me coming out of the elevator. Prosecutor, let's pull up the incident report again. Flores, here we reminded him that the checkout time was approaching. Prosecutor, what did you add to the incident report after you reviewed the video? Flores, I described what I saw in the video. Prosecutor, what else did you do with the video? Flores, I recorded 2 videos of it with my phone to show my wife at home. I think that's a little bit suspicious, but okay. Did he record it on his phone to show his wife, look what happened at the hotel today with Diddy, or were you trying to sell it or what? Okay, let me keep reading. All right. So Flores' video, there's a voiceover, including about how shiny his shoes were, played for the jury. Okay. So prosecutor, did you work the next day? Flores, no, I had the next 2 days off. Prosecutor, when you came back in, did you look for the video? Flores, I did, but it was gone. Prosecutor, did you ever see it again? Flores, yes, recently. Prosecutor, nothing further. Okay, so then the judge called up the lawyer for Diddy for cross-examination, and cross-examination is first being handled by Brian Steele. And that name might be familiar because Brian Steele was the lead attorney on the YSL trial for Young Thug. So Brian Steele is on this case, and on this day, he led the cross-examination on behalf of Diddy. So Brian Steele said, you said your report was the 5 W's, right? Flores, yes. Steele, you mentioned that when you get off the elevator, 1114 or 1115, you describe Mr. Combs as having a devilish expression on his face. Flores, that's my opinion. Steele, when you get off the elevator, what's in your hand? Flores, my radio. Steele, Mr. Combs did not attack you, did he? Flores, no. And Steele, and was there any law enforcement involvement? Flores, no. Steele, you videoed for your wife and kept it, right? Flores, I did. Steele, but never was law enforcement called. Flores, they were not. Now let's remember, Flores is doing hotel security, but he's also a part of LAPD. Okay. Steele, You told the jury Mr. Combs said to Cassie, "You're not leaving," but your report did not say that, right? Flores, at that point, I did not believe it was a significant fact. I'm not going to put down the back and forth. Still, so it wasn't important 9 years ago, but only now. Objection. The USA attorneys objected. The judge overruled it. Flores, I did not put it in the report at the time. Still, you said you were offered a bribe, but hadn't you told him he had to pay for the vase? Flores, yes. Still, and again, still, Brian Still is representing Diddy here with the cross examination. Still, the gentleman you say you saw in the room, you described to the jury things not in your report. Flores, he didn't engage. Now, the gentleman they're talking about here is that Cassie was there. Of course, Diddy was there, and this is all connected to the infamous elevator thing that got released on CNN. But there was another guy at the hotel that I guess that was a part of the freak off. So that's when they're talking about the gentleman you saw in the room. That's who he's referencing. Okay, still, why didn't you ask him his name? Flores, he wasn't talking to no one. Still, did you tell anyone at the time? Flores, no. Still, in the 7-foot driver, do you know who it was? Flores, I don't know, but Cassie knew him. Still, you didn't put it in your report that you offered to call law enforcement, but she refused. Why not? Flores, she said no, so there was no reason to include it. Still, you said you put Mr. Combs against the wall. That's aggressive, isn't it? Flores, it could be, but I only put my forearm against his chest. Still, but you didn't put that in your report. Flores, you're asking me to have put more detail in my report. Still, do you remember the layout? And I'm assuming he means the layout of the hotel room. Flores, no, just the corner room. Still, was it a normal hotel room like I would stay in, just one room, or did it have a living room? Flores, I don't know. Still, the third party, you said he was on a bed. Keep in mind, this is the whole incident with the what Diddy did to Cassie at the elevator, but there was another guy there in the room who was a part of what allegedly appears to have been one of the freak offs. So again, that's who Brian Steele is referencing when he's talking about the third party. The third party, you said he was on a bed. Flores, it was a pullout. Why are they a pullout bed? They're doing the freak offs in the hotel and they're using a pullout bed. Okay, anyway, still. I digress. Okay, still, you were in the hospitality business as well as security, right? Flores, yes. Still, Mr. Combs, it was clear to you that he wanted to pay for the damage, right? The USA attorney objects, calls for speculation. The judge advises to ask the question in a different way. So Brian Steele then says, it can be embarrassing for a guest. Objection. The USA attorney objects again. The judge sustained. Still, one moment, nothing further. Then redirect. So now the prosecutors get to redirect after Brian Steele represented Diddy with the cross examination. So the USA attorney, and I'm just going to refer to them as the prosecutor, did you typically include every single detail in a report? Flores, no. Prosecutor, did he seem drunk or high? Flores, no. Prosecutor, when he offered you the money or when he offered you money, what did he say? Flores, that he didn't want anyone to know about it pretty much. Prosecutor, which way Mr. Combs dragging, so I guess he means which way was Mr. Combs dragging Cassie? Flores, back toward the room. So I'm wondering if he was saying, did he see that on videotape or was he there then present on the 6th floor and he watched Diddy drag Cassie towards the room? Okay, so prosecutor, nothing further. Judge recross. So Brian Steele on behalf of Diddy recrosses. They are motion sensitive cameras, so there are gaps, right? Flores, yes. Still nothing further. Okay, so then that's the end of the questioning for that particular moment for the hotel security person. And now they are calling to the stand. Let's see, judge next witness, the prosecutor. What did Miss Ventura pay you for? The witness. Now, here they're just calling this person the witness. The journalist did. He didn't include any name or anything right here. So it's just one of the ex workers that is on the witness stand at this point. Okay, so the prosecutor asks, what did Miss Ventura pay you for? And the witness says to have sex with her, Sean Combs, and Sean Combs, wait a minute, to have sex with her, Sean Combs was there too. Witness, Bob Boss called me and said he couldn't find any of our black dancers. So could I go to a bachelorette party in the Gramercy Park Hotel in downtown Manhattan? Prosecutor, what did you expect to do? Witness, a little stripper dance. Okay, male dancer. The journalist making these tweets now, instead of using the word witness, it's just calling this guy the male dancer. Okay, so the male dancer says she was in the hotel room in a red wig, stockings, and sunglasses. She gave me a few $100s. Prosecutor, what was the room like? The male dancer, red couches, Astroglide, a lubricant. There was a man on the right side of the room. The male dancer said the man had on a white robe and a bandana over his face below his eyes and a baseball cap. From his voice, I recognized him as Sean Combs. Prosecutor, what did he say? The male dancer says that he was into importing and exporting. The male dancer said he was having a problem with my boss. The defense objects. The prosecutor then says, I'll get back to that. After the sex was over, what happened? The male dancer said, Cassie gave me a couple of $1,000s more. So initially, when he got there, according to his earlier testimony, he got a few $100s. And then after the sex was over, Cassie gave him a few $1,000s more. Male dancer, he said to give them my phone number. I did. Cassie called me and asked me for a photo. Prosecutor, then what? Male dancer, she called me to go back. I did for a few hours and then a few times after that. Prosecutor, Combs always present? Male dancer, yes. Prosecutor, any other locations? Male dancer, Essex House, his residence on 56th Street, I believe 210 at the time, and at her residence on West End Avenue, I think number 10. Prosecutor, what name were you to say you were there to see? Male dancer, black. Male dancer, I would send her vulgar text messages. Prosecutor, like what? Male dancer, you want me to say it? Prosecutor, give an example. Male dancer, I'd text, I want to F you right now. Prosecutor, how often did you use baby oil? Male dancer, every time. Male dancer, Sean Combs said we didn't have enough baby oil on. He'd say, y'all slow down, separate from each other. One time he tried to have us role play like we had just met at an airport. We weren't good, so we skipped that. Lord. Now, this is a lot. Now, I still don't really see racketeering yet, but this is a lot, right? This is a lot, okay? Prosecutor, what direction did Mr. Combs give you? Male dancer, he tell me to step off and back off. Prosecutor, how many times, if any, were you told to urinate on Miss Ventura? Defense, objection, suggestive, judge overruled it. The male dancer said they told me not to do it all at once. Defense, objection to him saying they. Judge, I've got it. The prosecutor said, what happened afterward? The male dancer, they leave me waiting for hours. The whole thing might go on for 10 hours. Male dancer, they were headed to the Essex Hotel. They said to go in 30 minutes. It was the first time he opened the door as himself, dressed in a suit, no mask. Prosecutor, how did things change? Male dancer, he didn't feel Diddy's lawyers object. And then Comey, who is the prosecutor, says, who, if anyone, recorded? Male dancer, Mr. Combs, with a cell phone and camcorder. He took a photo of my driver's license for insurance, he said. Combs' lawyers objects. The judge says, focus it. The prosecutor then said, what did you understand? The male dancer says, he was threatening me. Wow. Okay. Not from these. Well, okay, these are early witnesses, right? This is the second witness we're getting through. So let's keep going. The male dancer said, once I went and Cassie was slumped over, he said, it's not going to happen this time. Prosecutor, did Mr. Combs offer you drugs? Male dancer, Molly, I guess it's called. I don't do drugs. MDMH, MDA. I think I went out and handed out $100 bills. Prosecutor, how did the Molly make you feel? Male dancer, sick and euphoric and like an idiot handing out $100 bills. Prosecutor, who else was present? Male dancer, a guy who told me he was an actual escort. He was having sex with Cassie at her apartment. Male dancer, the guy was looking at Sean Combs and Combs said, don't you be fucking looking at me. Diddy's attorney objects. The judge said, let's get a fresh question. The prosecutor then said, what did he look like? The male dancer said it was a black guy, kind of skinny. We exchanged phone numbers. Then the prosecutor says, have you seen him in 10 years? I'm assuming he's talking about Diddy. Male dancer, no. Prosecutor, did it ever seem you were not the first person there? The male dancer says, yes, half used Astroglide towels on the floor. Prosecutor, after the $100 bills, did you see them again? The male dancer said, I couldn't do it anymore. The prosecutor then said, what did you get paid when you couldn't perform? Male dancer, nothing. But I never asked for money. I was happy to get involved with the people with such notoriety. But after I saw Sean Combs hit Cassie, I couldn't do it anymore. Prosecutor, what was Mr. Combs saying as he must have meant beat Cassie? The male dancer said, he said, bitch, when I tell you come over, you come over. I didn't know what to do. Prosecutor, did you intervene? Male dancer, no. I knew that the changes there were bodyguards. I'm not sure what he meant, but obviously he knew there were bodyguards there. So Diddy's lawyers object and the judge sustains. Prosecutor then said, what next? Male dancer said, he said, are y'all ready to continue? Prosecutor, did you try? The male dancer said, I don't recall. Prosecutor, did you see them again? Male dancer, I thought I had developed some sort of friendship with Cassie. I may have been speculating. Male dancer goes on to say, I went there. I heard him slapping her. He walked out in a towel. She ran to me. I asked, why are you staying with this guy? Diddy's lawyers object. Judge asks on what ground. The Diddy lawyer says hearsay. Judge overrules. Male dancer then says she said it was okay. All right. And at that point, there was nothing further by the prosecutor. The judge breaks before the cross. And then when we come back, they are speaking, and the male dancer witness is named Daniel Phillip, not Phillips as it first sounded like. So the male dancer who gave much of the testimony that I just read, his name is actually Daniel Phillip. So when they come back, Judge, Mr. Phillip, you are still on the oath. So they continue on with the male dancer who is Daniel Phillip. All right. So now we're on cross-examination, and Diddy's lawyer asks, let me show you a text message chain between you and Cassie. Is it accurate? The male dancer, Daniel Phillip, says yes. Diddy's lawyer, you were working for a service? The male dancer, a male review show. Diddy's lawyer, you were a manager, male strippers for women? The male dancer, yes. Diddy's lawyer, Prostitution was prohibited. The male dancer, that is correct. Diddy's lawyer, your job was to build it up. The male dancer said yes and no. Diddy's lawyer said, I'll go with yes. Of course he said, I'll go with yes. So the prosecutors objected and the judge sustained. So then Diddy's lawyer said, did the company open fake businesses to optimize search results? The male dancer said fake addresses. It was just SEO. Diddy's lawyer, you want to optimize the lady's experience? The male dancer, I have no idea what you mean. It's just our slogan. Diddy's lawyer, Cassie told you to say the name Black. The male dancer, yes. Diddy's lawyer, your boss told you someone wanted a black man stripper. Male dancer, yes. Diddy's lawyer, let me show you. The prosecutor then says this shouldn't be put on the screen. Diddy's lawyer, take it off, take it off. So I don't know what they had on the screen, but whatever it was, the prosecutor said it shouldn't be on the screen, and Diddy's lawyer said take it off, take it off. So I don't know what that was. So then Diddy's lawyer says she was wearing a wig, and the male dancer said yes. Diddy's lawyer said she handed you money, and the male dancer said she handed me $4,000. So, and multiple statements made by witnesses today, they are pointing out that their transactions, far as who even reached out to them, all of that was being handled for the most part by Cassie. Okay, so let's go back to she handed you money. The Diddy's lawyer, the male dancer says she handed me $4,000. And the question before any all rubbing, the male dancer said correct. Did she have on heels? The male dancer said and dark glasses. Diddy's lawyer said where'd the money come from? And the male dancer said her hand. So Diddy's lawyer then said, you were wearing a New York City Police Department uniform, right? Mm. The male dancer said, I bought an NYPD t-shirt. Diddy's lawyer, you took the oil off in front of Cassie? The male dancer said, the oil? No, I took my clothes off. She said, it's my birthday. Oh boy, I think I see where they're trying to go with some of this. Let me see if we have any more since that comment. Um okay, it's my birthday. Okay, here's some more of the post that's been added. Okay, so Diddy's lawyer then says it appears she is enjoying herself. Wow. I don't know if they're in the courtroom or if they're showing video or pictures at that point, but let's just go. Okay, so the guy from Diddy's representation is saying you took the oil off in front of Cassie. And the male dancer said, the oil, no, I took my clothes off. She said, it's my birthday. Diddy's lawyer said, it appears she is enjoying herself. And the male dancer said, yes. What was your position? The male dancer said, missionary. I was like, did that just happen? Diddy's attorney said, she asked you for a photo. The male dancer said, I do not know if Sean Combs asked for it. Judge said, ignore that. And then the judge said, we'll pick up here tomorrow. Oh boy. Okay, so I read through what this journalist who is in the courtroom has tweeted, trying to give us blow by blow what was happening in the witnesses, what was happening literally in the courtroom today. So a couple of things I think really stands out to me, and I've even seen a few people comment on this, that it really looks right now like if I had to go by now, it's too early to make any kind of assessment. Of course, this is just day one of getting testimony, but I think Diddy has a chance of winning this case. I think how they're trying to paint this picture of, Yes, they are not denying that Diddy is guilty of domestic violence, and Diddy's attorneys are saying, and if we were here being charged with domestic violence, that wouldn't be an issue, or we probably wouldn't even be here because, yes, he's guilty of that, but he's not guilty of racketeering. So the prosecutors, for most of their testimony, they kind of spend a lot of time on going over the videotape. They spend a lot of time talking with the security guard just to understand what he saw when he went to the sixth floor where Diddy, Cassie, and this other man was. And they wanted to kind of focus a lot on the violence, right? Diddy's attorneys and Cross really focused more so on who handed you money, who contacted you for these events that were going to happen, like with freak offs. And from the witnesses, you will hear repeated like it was Cassie who contacted us, it was Cassie who paid us, it was Cassie. So I think they are trying to position in front of the jury that these people had a different type of sex life. They were both into it. They both participated in it. Cassie was right beside Diddy and like putting these things together. So it's just very curious to think about what might the jury be thinking at this point. I will say from what we saw today, and again, this is just day one. They only had 3 witnesses on the stand today. From what we saw today, there was nothing from my perspective that I could assess from these tweets that really started showing us that there was racketeering and that there was an organization that was doing all of these things with trafficking. That was not displayed today at all. The most that was to me really mentioned was like in the opening statement, and the opening statements, that's not evidence, which is something that the judge also instructed the jurors before everything got started. So we will see what tomorrow will bring. There were some other things in here like, wow, that there was a pull-out bed that was in the room with Cassie. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, it gives you this visual, not that we need any of these visuals, but when you hear pull-out bed, it just feels like, where in the world were y'all? Because we know you were not at Days Inn or whatever. I mean, you could get a pull-out bed in any kind of hotel room, but see how my mind is rambling? Like, why in the world would you all be somewhere having this freak off where you would need a pull-out bed? I mean, I don't know. That just sounded weird to me. Another thing that was interesting to me is when the defense said that all of the video that will be shown during this trial is video that was on Cassie's phone. So that is also interesting to me because just, I think all of us in the public, and that is whatever that's worth, when Diddy's homes were raided and allegedly so many videotapes or digital recordings had been removed from his home, I think the thought was that there were going to be a lot of exposure in this trial, like maybe different entertainers. There was going to be a lot of evidence as far as what he had been doing that wasn't consensual. So to hear them say that the only recordings they have are the recordings that were on Cassie's phone, that was a bit surprising to me. I'm trying to think if there was anything else major that stood out. Uh, I didn't hear Diddy's attorneys take the approach that they were supposedly going to take in the words they used today, either in the opening statement or in the cross. They didn't take the position of saying that Cassie was also violent, like they were both violent, because from what we heard, that was going to be a part of their strategy. And they were trying to get the okay from the judge for that to be a part of their strategy. I don't know if we didn't hear any of that today because the judge didn't allow it. But from everything that I read from these tweets, I didn't see anything here where the defense was leaning into Cassie is violent as well. They leaned heavily into, look, these relationships that Diddy had, they called him in one tweet like a multi-woman man or some kind of weird phrasing like that. basically saying, "Hey, this is how he lives. They know this. This is how the defense was positioning it in their open comment. They know that this is how Diddy lives. These women who are making these accusations, and they're really at this point only focusing on three women: Cassie, a lady who's named Jane, and I'm unclear at this point, is this Jane a quote unquote Jane Doe, or is this somebody literally named Jane? And there's a woman named Mia. So right now, that seems to be the focus of what's going to be discussed during the trial, or that's how it's been said within some of the tweets that have come out of the courtroom. So again, just all of the thought around, there was going to be like this laundry list of women who were going to come. That doesn't appear to be what's going to happen in this case. So I don't know. It just feels to me that the way from what I saw today, it it just feels like the prosecutors, at least for today, they have not shown us anything to make me feel like, okay, yeah, y'all got him. Is locked in. I mean, you got the fact that yes, domestic violence. Of course, we already knew that because we know what we saw in the video with Cassie, and I think most of us who followed Diddy and read other things and knew different things about him, that wasn't a hard sell to begin with because there's been a pattern of some behavior with like other people, including Kim Porter. But they leaned again. They said, "Yeah, we accept. We're not going to deny that. We're not going to run away from that." Has Diddy been violent? Yes. Is he very jealous? Yes. Is he guilty of domestic violence? Yes. So these are the things that the defense is saying. We're not shying away from that. Yep, he's guilty of all of those things. But let me tell you what he's not guilty of. He's not guilty of racketeering. He's not guilty of sex trafficking. He's not guilty of doing anything with anybody against their will. So this is the position that the defense has taken. I did not see today where the prosecution swung back in an equal manner to say, no, these things were not voluntary. He did do these things. He did traffic, and this is how none of that. I don't feel like if I had to say who won the day, I would say the defense won the day today. Now, how all of that shakes out in the end, we'll see. Again, this is day one of testimony for a trial that's going to last for 2 months. But if I had to say who won the day today, I would have to actually give it to the defense. I would have to actually give it to the defense. I don't know if the prosecutor's office overshot by charging Diddy with RICO. Maybe they should have. I don't know. I don't know if they could have just charged him with domestic violence because that might have been a statute of limitations thing. But the lady Jane, they were saying whatever the incidents were with her, they happened as recent as last year. So I don't know. But again, if I had to go by what happened today, the defense won the day far as who's winning by what narrative they're presenting. And the prosecution just didn't deliver on setting this up so that we can see Diddy more than he's definitely a domestic abuser, guilty of domestic violence. He's definitely has a certain type of lifestyle for as sex and swinging and all of that. So check that box, check the swinging box, check the domestic violence box. But I don't think the prosecution did enough today to say that, and this also means he is guilty of racketeering. So no, there's a lot more to come over the next 2 months. But again, if I went just by what went on in the courtroom today, I would say the defense definitely won today. So I plan to do these lives and follow this trial. That is my intention. So, and I will try to get to, if there are even better sources to show us blow by blow what's happening in the courtroom, I will find those sources since cameras are not allowed in the courtroom. But I appreciate you all for watching this live. And if you're rewatching, thank you so much. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please drop a comment. I also, when I'm doing these lives, I will have the link to the live in the comment section. So if anybody ever wants to join so that we can have more of like a conversation about what's happening in the Diddy trial, please hit the link. I would love to engage with you all that way. So again, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment. And if you're not a subscriber already, why not? Hit the subscribe button. Appreciate y'all. Until the next time. Bye.